Hello guys, how's everybody doing? You are watching the Camera 64 podcast and I'm your host, Alfonso Chavez, and today I decided to get out and take a little stroll here at Mission Concepcion. This is a great facility. I haven't been here in a while, and in case somebody who might know me, I used to live just literally right up the street. Right here is where I grew up, here in Southtown. I guess it's the ritzy place now, but we're here at Mission Concepcion because I wanted to do two things. I wanted to revisit the location. I haven't been here in a very long time, and also I wanted to ask questions about how involved it is to actually shoot a quinceañera here. But unfortunately there's nobody in the office for me to ask that question. And the other thing is that I wanted to take some pictures with my Canon 1D Mark III with my 24-70, and to show people that, hey, you don't have to have a new camera in order to take good pictures. So that's another thing that we're going to be out here doing. So I'm going to take a quick walk around. We're going to take a whole bunch of pictures. I'm going to do a light little edit on it, and maybe I might do an unedited and an edited version so you can see both of them at the same time. So let's go ahead and get just a little bit about the camera. The Canon 1D Mark III, when it first was initially released, there was a whole bunch of issues with the camera, but with some firmware updates and also sending the camera in some cases to get the mirror box replaced, you were able to get some good focusing out of this camera. So this particular camera that I have is an older model in the line, so it doesn't have those focusing issues. But either way, I don't let the system kind of set its own focus point. I always shoot with the center focus point selected, and also I'm always in one shot too. Now I do work my plus and minus on my exposure compensation, just depending on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, whether it's increased shutter speed or increased aperture or lower aperture. So it just depends. But let's go ahead and get in there. We'll take some shots, like I said. Once I have those fixed up and edited, I'll include these in the video, and I'll also shoot some video in there so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. This is a fantastic place. If you're not from San Antonio, I would highly recommend this Mission. This one is Mission Concepcion, and it is fairly close to downtown, so it's not a long drive if you're in the downtown area to come and visit. But let's get in there and take some pictures, guys. We'll see you in a bit, okay? In there. Hey guys, so I'm back here at home now after a fantastic day at Mission Concepcion today. I had a good time walking around, and it's always amazing to me after not seeing it for such a long time just how beautiful the church actually is. Mission Concepcion is one of the larger ones. It's not the largest, but it's one of the larger ones in this series because it is a series of missions that run in a row. Mission Concepcion is the closest one to the Alamo, and it's about a 3 mile distance from downtown. So the Alamo actually sits right in downtown San Antonio, and Mission Concepcion is about 3 miles up the road. And they're pretty consistent. They're about 2.5 to 3 miles apart. And there's a series of about 4 of them in total, if I remember correct. But I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, it was a great day to be out and shooting. It was not hot. It was not cold. We had a nice full sunny day, and I was just happy to be out with my 1D Mark III. And let me grab that real quick. So here's that camera right here. And the funny thing is that when I pulled it out, I went ahead and grabbed some other lenses for it. I had this. In the video I said 24 to 70, but this is actually the 24 to 105 f4, and this is a great walk around lens. And I ended up not changing it, not at this first mission anyway. I did take the chance to go down to the next mission down, which is Mission San Jose, and I will post those pictures a little bit later on. But everything here at Mission Concepcion, I ended up keeping the same lens on for the entire time that I was there. I was there for about an hour and a half, and I was quite surprised because it's not summertime yet, and there were actually a lot of tourists out there, a lot of people that were out on tours too, from different companies that do that here in San Antonio, which is fantastic to see. I wouldn't mind doing that job, right? I love my city that much that I would definitely take the time to talk about my city. But either way, I wanted to take this camera out because here on Facebook, I'm part of a group, the R group. I don't know the exact same name. I think it's the R6 R5/R5 group on Facebook. And I always hear them going back and forth about megapixels this, megapixels that. The R5's got 45 or 48 or whatever the number is, and the R6 only has 20. And if you want to get full detail, you need to jump up to get the R5 and spend that extra, what is it, $1,500 difference. Well, if you ask me, guys, I am just as happy shooting this camera as I am my R6, and I do own both of the cameras. Let me show you that. So I'm not just talking because I can talk, but I'm talking because I actually do own the 2 cameras. See, here's my R6 right here, which I do really love this camera. I do. But there's a lot of times when I'm doing personal stuff, and even when I'm doing weddings, guys, sometimes I'm doing weddings, and I just feel more comfortable shooting this 1D because I've had it for so long, and the style of shooting is so much different than on this R6. I mean, this R6, when you compare it to this, it's kind of like driving on a stick car. I grew up driving an old 64 Impala with 4-speed on the floor, right? That's not the only way to drive, but it's a stick shift, right? But you also have the automatic. So that's my comparison of the 2 cameras, is that this 1D is kind of like that old manual Impala that I used to drive around with four on the floor, and my R6 is kind of like an automatic transmission, right? It does everything for me. All I have to do is just make sure I put gas, make sure I put the key in, get up and running, and the camera just takes care of everything, all the shifting for me, basically. But there's something about this camera. There's something about it. It has a character to it. When people see me out with this camera, they get out of the way for whatever reason. I don't know why it is. They see this big old camera and instantly it's like, ta-da, and it clears the way, and people will get out of my way and let me shoot. It's funny. I love the fact that people do that. But aside from that, guys, the character, these older cameras like the 5D, I don't have I don't own the version 1, but I do own the 5D Mark II still. And I own this camera, and I still shoot these guys at weddings, events, quinceañeras. I am not worried one bit that this camera right here is only 10 megapixels. And it really is only 10 megapixels. If you don't believe me, look it up. But here's something I want to show you too, because I just happened to print this sample because I had somebody inquiring about a quinceañera, and I said, well, yeah, let me pull up something I did recently. And I did do this recently, only a couple months ago. I shot this quinceañera using this camera right here. Let me show you what I printed. So here is what I printed, and I want you to notice how large this print is, guys. See how big this is? This print is probably about 2.5 feet wide, 2.5 feet tall. Essentially, it's a 20 by 30 inches. That's insane, guys. This file came off of this camera right here. This right here you're looking at is 10 megapixels, guys. 10. Look at that, really nice and close there. 10 megapixels, guys. And it is sharp, and it is clean. And that particular dress in that event in particular was my favorite quinceañera dress all of last year. It won hands down. And it was shot with this camera, guys. So next time I hear somebody say, oh, I only have I only have pixels, and oh, I need a camera that's brand new. This camera is old, guys. I think it was released in 2007, if I remember correct, which is also the year that I actually started Camera 64. And this was a camera that I wanted to buy, but I just could not afford it. I wanted to buy this so bad, but it was like $6,500 if I remember correct. And I just could not afford it. You know, obviously when you start out, right, you want the good stuff. Well, this was the good stuff in 2007. And guess what? It's still the good stuff today here in 2022. So do not feel that you are missing out on anything. So let's take a quick look at some of these pictures real fast. So here I am in Lightroom. And I'm going to show you the ones that I already kind of made an export of this. But as you can see over to my right here, I just made some corrections. Basically the contrast. Basically, I set my white balance. I set my white point and my black point, and then I just added some vibrance and some saturation. That's it. And then basically I always like to come into the curves here and take a little bit off the top and the bottom, which is what I did here. Just a little bit. It's slight. It's not enough for it to be super noticeable, but I just like to kind of take off a little bit at the top and at the bottom. And then basically I came down in here into details. I give it a little bit of sharpening, not much. After the update here in Lightroom, I want to say a couple of updates ago, they lowered it. It used to be at 50, and then they lowered it to 40. I still bring it up to 40. I still bring it up to 50. And if I was shooting in a low light situation with this camera, I would definitely bring up some of that luminous noise reduction, but I don't need it. And then the other one, because it's during the day, and then the other correction that I always make on this camera is enabling the camera profiles. So this camera does have a lot of profiles in it. There's some that are not in here, but you can always add them in here in Lightroom. So I always like to make those corrections. It's an automatic correction, and it makes a big difference in the finals. So here's the pictures. Here's the before and after, and you're gonna see that it's not a huge difference. It's just a little bit brighter. There's a little bit more contrasty, and you can also tell by this orange here at the bottom that that there's an increase in saturation. So that was one of the pictures I selected. Here's another one right here. See, I don't do a whole lot of corrections in here because I just feel like if I can get the exposure just right in camera, that I'm not gonna have to make too many big changes. And you can see, I mean, the changes are very minute. It's just ever so slightly brighter, and that's only because I always set my black and my white points. And if you want to know a little bit about black and white points, I can make a whole video about that. But that's super important if you're going to be printing your pictures out. You want to set that white and black spot all the time. Yeah, this is super nice, guys. Gosh. See what I mean? This is just a beautiful location. Look at that. So I found out that if you shoot during regular business hours, which is from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, if you you have to do request a permit up 10 days ahead of your shoot. And if you do that and you shoot during regular business hours, it's only $50. If you want to shoot outside of regular business hours, then it goes up to $150, which is still not bad in my opinion, because why would you want to pay that? Well, you just want to make sure that there's nobody that's going to mess up your pictures. You're not going to have people walking around during the day while you're shooting. So that's one of the advantages. So like here's one that I shot on the interior. Now this room was really dark. There's a window that's directly behind me. And so here's the before and the after. And this one I was not able to, because I normally like to set up templates and I like to apply it so that way there's a consistency across all the pictures from the day. But this interior was super dark, so I had to make its own little thing. But it still came out good. Still came out sharp. Here's the Mission Concepcion. And this is not bad. I mean, this is I'm shooting at ISO 400, 5.6, and f8. And my camera was screaming at me that it was going to be underexposed, but I just didn't want to bring my ISO up anymore. And that's one thing also to keep in mind when you're shooting older cameras. I would much rather underexpose by a stop or two and bring it back in post. So that way you get a much cleaner image. It's pretty clean, as you can see here. And I do believe that on this one I did add some luminance. Let's see. Yeah, I did a really slight, just a 15. So it's not a lot. Just a kiss of luminance, of noise reduction on there. That's a beautiful shot. I like that a lot. And this particular room I've been in before, and I've shot a bride standing in front of this window here, from outside in, and also having her standing on this side with that sun coming in, and me on my back up against this wall shooting across, and like this too. It's beautiful. And then they got the fountain outside, which is nice. And this kind of weird door that goes to nowhere. It's kind of weird. If you go on the other side, I'm guessing that at one point this was a room behind here. But if you actually go around the outside of this door, there's nothing there. It just goes straight through, which is kind of cool, I guess. Again, this is just a different angle of that water fountain the well that used to be in the front. And I like this wall too. I've used this wall quite a bit in sessions too. But yeah, see, there's not that big of a difference. Just a little bit of brightness. That's it. I increased some contrast and it's good to go. This is basically almost right out of camera. Okay, yeah, that's already Mission San Jose. Okay, guys, well, that was my shoot for today. I just want to encourage people that, hey, if you're new, you don't have the latest and greatest, guess what? You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. 10 megapixels is fantastic, guys. Anything under 10 megapixels, then I would worry a little bit. But even then, guys, I used to shoot with the 20D many moons ago, and it was 8 megapixels. And guess what? I should print some very nice pictures off of that too. So Just don't worry about those kinds of things. Don't worry about, I don't have a new camera. I don't have the highest megapixels. My camera's not the fastest focusing. None of that stuff really matters, guys. It really doesn't. It's the photographer. If you're a good photographer, it doesn't matter what camera they put in your hands, you're going to do fine. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. It was a lot of fun making this video. And I'm super excited because I got a new follower, and he's been checking off and commenting on all my videos. That's been fantastic. It gives me a reason to want to go out and actually make videos, and that's why I felt encouraged to do that today. I was sitting around doing nothing, so I said, why not go out and shoot out in the field and make a video out there, guys, right? But thanks for watching, guys. You've been watching the Camera 64 podcast. You keep shooting, guys. If you're learning, you have questions about learning, or have questions about anything technical in photography, let me know. I'll make a video about it for you. Till next time, guys, you take care. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.